So everyone is here. Now you can push the button start.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. My name is NurFaiqah binti Muhammad as your moderator for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allocating your time in our forum about the importance of learning mathematical logic and proven technique in improving quality of time. Before we begin our forum today, let me introduce our first panel, NURHAFIZAH binti IBRAHIM. Next, the second panel is NURUL binti Muhammad ZAINUDDIN. And our last panel is NURALIA SYUHADA binti NURHISHAM. Now, let me explain a bit about mathematical logic. Mathematical logic in a nutshell is the study of formal logic in mathematics. Mathematical logic research typically focuses on the mathematical properties of formal logic systems, such as their expressive or deductive powers. In mathematics, to prove means to write a proof of a statement in the context of a mathematical theory. A proof is an argument that begins with the theory's axioms and previous proven results and ends with the statement to be proved using logical correct deductive steps. Without wasting the time, let's begin with our first panel to explain the proving technique in mathematical logic and why it is important to our life.
Thanks, Miss Moderator. A very good morning to all the panelists and the audience. I am so glad to be one of the guests here. In mathematics, thought a theory is a set of results that has been proved to be true according to logic. There is no probability involved, no evidence required, and no doubt. The doubt and questions come in when we ask how this theory models the world around us, but the results that are true inside this theory must logically be true, and mathematicians can all agree on it. If they doubt it, they have to find an error in the proof. It is not acceptable just to shout about it. Then, logic can help you to find the truth. Without truth, quality of life is impossible to attain. Since it is a case that when we consistently act on false belief, that we consistently reap negative consequences. Thus, attaining truth as the natural goal of all rational beings bring about a higher quality of life. Logic informs us that if one of these options is true, the others are necessarily false. Logic is a guide to the truth, and it is in being directed to a truth where logic finds its greatest enhancement to one's life. After all, truth is what all men are seeking. Besides, knowing if an argument is valid is a valuable skill for knowledge. Logic is essential, the study of reasoning or argumentation. We use reason all the time to draw inferences that are useful to us, such as if our car won't start, we reason that the battery may be dead, so we test the battery. If the battery is not dead, then we deduce the problem must lie elsewhere. Perhaps with the starter motor, so we check the starter motor and so on. The reasoning here is simple, but the reasoning can become quite complex. Training ourselves to construct effective arguments and to spot weak ones is a skill that is useful in everyday life. It helps steer us the direction of truth and away from falsehood. Furthermore, logic is also an important subject because it teaches relations. This has far-reaching effects beyond mathematics, where it is often studied. It teaches deductive reasoning, such as the difference between reason and fallacy. For example, while it may be true that all rich people have money, it is not true that all people who have money are rich. Logic also requires critical thinking. There is sentence by Francis Bacon. Critical thinking is the desire to seek, the passion to doubt, the fondness to meditate, and the slowness to assert. When we using critical thinking, you seek out information, not settling for what it is given. Critical thinking is very important in our life, especially nowadays that we live in a modern world that everything we doing in our daily life require critical thinking so that we can make the best decision to solve any problems. In our life, it is normal when we have arguments and problems. Mathematical logic and proving techniques can solve all of them. It is also can show which is the true and false. This logic is technically valid, and if the premises are true, then of course the conclusion must be true. You can see here, however, that is not always true, but in some situations it could be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fiza, for the interesting presentation. Ms. Ain, from what Ms. Fiza said just now, mathematics can help us in finding the truth. I have a question. How can we relate mathematical logic and proving technique in our real-life situations? Other than that, why learning mathematical logic and proving techniques is really important and can be beneficial to us?
Thank you to our moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to our moderator today, Ms. Faikah, all the panels and all the audiences. Firstly, I would thank to you guys for inviting me today as one of the panels and allowing me to share my thought regarding to our topic today, which is the importance of learning mathematical logics and proving technique in improving quality of life. As Ms. Fiza said just now, logic can help you find the truth. I really agree, because believing what is not true can easily disrupt people's plan and potentially result in their death. In response to the question asked by our moderator, in my opinion, of course, logic does not always remain true in actual life, and mathematics is not alive. This is due to the fact that real life is significantly more complex and uncertain than the field of mathematics. However, we must keep in mind mathematical logic is largely about understanding things and organizing them in a way your mind can understand. Mathematical and formal logic really develop our soft skills to a point where they become second nature and effortless. So my point here is the mathematical logic can actually improve your ability to solve problems in your daily life. For example, using logic might cause a variety of errors. They are typically caused by a small number of error types, some of which are calculation related and some of which are semantic. The ability to identify danger and deal with it comes from formal logic practice, even when you are just trying to figure things out in your head. As Ms. Faikah said just now, this can be beneficial for you because it will make you more careful while handling different life situations, whether they are in academic, such as while completing schoolwork, where you can be less careless, or while doing your daily activities. Making decisions is when logic becomes particularly important in all of our ongoing activities and daily routine. Decision-making skills are quite difficult if we don't use logical thinking. More to the point, we cannot have an everyday life without consistently making decisions with this logic. From the trivial to the critical, we must make decisions at all times and in all places. It's obviously true that developing your logical and proving skills will enable you to make better decisions, because in mathematical logic and proving technique, we have conclusions that represent the result of our hypotheses. It allows us to utilize them in our decision-making process. Remember to apply it in your daily life, because knowledge has no value unless you put it into a practice. That's all for me, thank you.
Okay, such an informative explanation that we can hear from Ms. Ain. Ms. Ain has stated that mathematical logic can improve decision-making and solving problem skills. Ms. Shada, do you agree with this point?
First and foremost, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to deliver some information on our forum today. A very good morning also to Ms. Faikah and panel and my beloved audience. I agree with the point that Ms. I mentioned is mathematical logic can improve decision making and solving problem skills. For me, understanding this subject is an important life skill for everyone, especially for developing logical thinking, so that people can develop their problem solving abilities. One of the most crucial part of life is ability to solve problem. You guys know that one of the best strategy to improve our analytical thinking is to study mathematics. As I just said, it's also help us become more logical thinker. This logical and analytical thinker both help in our development as a problem solver. We improve our ability to handle the problem more successfully in this way. The more we solve the mathematics problem, the better we solve the real problem. Furthermore, mathematics can help us to have analytical thinking. We could define it as the truth direct to decompose the argument in its premise or expression that compose it, to see the relation that exists between them and their conclusion, in order to judge its veracity or reliability of the same. This is what we do when we do a mathematical problem. We collect the data, break down its premise, observe the relation that keep or systematically solve their part in a rational way. If we are able to understand mathematics and arrive at logical solution, we will be able to prepare our mind when we have a real problem. We can look for the best logic, see the possible solution, and relate the data we have to reach the conclusion. Besides that, mathematics quicken our mind and help us in general to deepen and think when we are faced with complex problems. Our life is composed large of situation of choice, approach, reasoning, and facing the problem to which a solution have to be found. In that sense, mathematics help us to open our mind and to understand that there is only one way to solve the thing. It is to investigate and finally conclude. When it's come to education, one of the biggest problem today is that high school students do not take mathematics seriously enough. They are simply not interested in this subject, despite the fact that this structured science can provide them well-paid job in engineering, statistics, education, and technology.
That sounds convincing. I agree with our panelists who state that the more math problems we solve, the better we solve real-world problems. I also recognize the importance of numbers in our daily lives. Without numbers, we cannot trade. As a result, students must take mathematics seriously in order to make their lives easier in the workplace later on. Since all the panel have given their own point about why mathematical logic is important in our life, so here we can conclude that logic and proving are important in improving the quality of life because it will be used in management, administration, law, finance, engineering, physics, chemistry, archaeology, history, and other disciplines. We will be able to broaden the range of things we know and understand. Plus, we also be able to receive self-knowledge, foresight, and a sense of direction in our daily lives. We can accomplish self-discovery, expansion of consciousness, and self-renewal. Therefore, when we are faced with a routine daily situation or a very difficult problem or issue to resolve, logic and reasoning are important to remember and be applied for the best or most desired results. That's all from us. Thank you.